Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today, let's talk Fear the Walking Dead Q&A. Alright, I'm going to throw the rules up here. You can also find them in the description if you want to read them. You can pause it or just go down in the description. It's very important. Most important, put Q&A before anything in the comment, because I scrolled down right now. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to find the Q&As, and I'm going to read them. Let's do this. First one, Nicholas Mercer. Who do you think in Fear the Walking Dead is most likely to become a villain or have his or her own motives like Shane? You know what? That's kind of difficult right now. All of them at the moment, unless you believe they're the Whispers, which we're going to cover that in another video, but they're all showing their humanity. They're all showing good people. It's kind of difficult to believe someone who would shift their entire life into the career of a guidance counselor would eventually end up being a villain. That's kind of a stretch. It's difficult. Now, hey, there's bad guidance counselors out there. There's probably some that have been arrested recently for doing bad shit. You know, that's absolutely true. But seeing Madison being the one to step up and say, we got to stop doing this shit, we need to start helping people, it's hard to see her becoming alpha especially, but it's hard to see her becoming a villain. It's hard to see Travis becoming a villain because of his character. It's easier to see Danny, however, he gives off that vibe as a man who, he doesn't live off the villainy. He lives off of doing what he gotta do. If he gotta kill, that's it, you know. He's gonna do it. So in a way, he could become a villain, different perspective. But Strand right now is probably up there, but I think that is just misleading. He could definitely become a villain, and I think that would be kind of shitty. I would rather they keep Strand around. And I'm not picking Strand because it's too easy. Strand's too easy. There's already internal turmoil where the characters don't like Strand for the most part, except for Nick. I'll pick Chris. Bitch Chris is a villain. You heard it here first. C. Gia. Do you think this group or someone from this group will turn into a villain? Damn, what the fuck is with you guys? You just want them to be villains. I mean, man. Yes, it will be completely different from the original show if you make them villains. Again, it's hard to see them become villains. At this pace, it would be season 14 before they became villains. Hina97. Do you think that after a couple seasons, when Fear the Walking Dead is ready to finish, there will be any possibility that whatever survivors from this show will end up crossing over? Yeah, I think there's always the possibility of a crossover. Andrew Odette. Why would the military bomb tons of other major U.S. cities but not bomb Washington, D.C.? I don't know. Maybe because it's Washington, D.C. and after the fact they would still want it, you know, to not be blown to pieces. I don't know. Chef Opaya-san. Who do you think will die first, Travis or Madison? I'll pick Travis. Array J. Hinter. Do you think the show's title could one day reflect the characters, meaning Fear the Walking Dead could be based on how Woodbury or the Saviors got started? The main characters would be villains. Hell, I mean, if the main characters aren't villains, right now that'd be more shocking to the fan base than them becoming villains. Yeah, that would be cool, because we never see it from the villain's perspective. The biggest problem is it's hard creating villains you want to watch, or hard that you get invested in, that you continually want to keep turning on the episodes to keep watching. It's difficult to do that with the mass audience. You might find villains that are charismatic and that you want to watch and da-da-da-da, but something about that, it's just not as fulfilling. If someone's a villain, they're a villain. Like, straight villain. Too many times in Hollywood, we see villains do the good thing, where it's a villain, but it doesn't kill kids. It's a villain, but he doesn't rape. If it's a villain, just make him a villain, and I guarantee the masses would not stick around for that. You're not going to watch somebody who's just a straight piece of shit. And listen, villains are pieces of shit. You know, we always sugarcoat our villains anymore. Make them cool, make them this. If they're a villain, they're a villain. But could the show's title... They didn't really have many options, honestly, with the title. It was only either The Walking Dead, you know, Los Angeles, or The Walking Dead, you know, at sea, or something shit like that, or The Walking Dead Survival. It was either that setup of a title, or Fear the Walking Dead, Survive the Walking Dead. and so on and so on. So in my opinion, it felt like the title was because they didn't have many options. They needed The Walking Dead in the title. Lucas Lamb, do you think they may upgrade the boat to have like machine guns or something? If you meant proud of you, yes, I'm proud of you. Okay, yeah, sure, they can upgrade the boat. I don't know how, I know nothing about that shit, but sure, go ahead. It seems like that would be difficult, but you can rig stuff. Yeah. Doc Jabas. Ronnie, do you think that Fear the Walking Dead will connect to the main show in the new beginning and will be introduced as Magna's group? Also, no. Again, no, only because these characters have been promoted as not being comic characters. Like, not Magna's group, not Alpha's group. If they do cross over into the world of The Walking Dead, they will be still original characters. They are all Daryl Dixons. So I will say it is possible right now, but I just don't see it happening. Sparky J, do you think if Fear the Walking Dead ends up being unsuccessful, do you think it will hurt the longevity of the original series? No way. This show sinking to the bottom of the ocean will not hurt the original series, not at all. Unless it crossed over and then sunk, then it might just take them both down with it. Ronan Crowley. Ronnie, do you think the overall negative criticism of Fear the Walking Dead is simply due to the fact that people find it a filler between The Walking Dead seasons? Does it have enough merit to stand on its own? I see so many fans that genuinely want to love this show that just don't. You know what I mean? And it's because they can't connect with the characters, they can't whatever, and yada 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 yada. If this show was just balls to the wall fucking amazing, fans would not pretend it's not. You know what I'm saying? RG Super. Do you think that they will do some flashbacks from the characters' lives before the fall of society, specifically Strand? I think they could. It's an option. I don't think they need to, though. They can simply give us exposition. They can show us some other way. They don't need to, but they could. Eddie Lewis, do you think Strand will be the Shane of the apocalypse, aka adapting more quickly than the rest of the group? If you were just talking about being more mindful that they are in a dangerous situation at all times, then sure, yeah, he could be the Shane in that aspect. Johnny Shu, what's up? Do you think Strand could have some kind of involvement or knowledge of why the apocalypse started? No, this show isn't going to go that route. It's just not set up to. It could, but I'd be shocked if it did. Classic Rock Ambassador. Hey Ronnie, do you think that Fear could ever be as big as the original show? It has the potential to, sure, but that's a slim potential, and that's only because it's like fighting against your first love. You know what I mean? Like, the original show is our first love, so Fear the Walking Dead would have to just blow our minds. It'd have to be on a whole nother level for it to be as big as the original show, but I think it could be damn close. Shit, yeah. Especially if it gives us some great story, great characters, it could come close. Absolutely. M. Garrity, do you think there could be another show in the same universe as The Walking Dead, like Fear the Walking Dead? Yes, there can be another show. It can come in 5 years, it could come in 20 years. I've been saying this for a few years now. The Walking Dead is here to stay. At worst, it'll fall in popularity. It might, not be a big thing. It might even take a break. Kind of like Star Wars did, where there was nothing happening for a few years. And then it'll come back. The Walking Dead will always be something. Some form of entertainment in our lives for as long as we live. They would have to screw shit up really bad for it to go away. Rick Dunford. Where do you think the timeline of Fear the Walking Dead is right now compared to The Walking Dead? For example, where is Rick right now? Still in the hospital? Yeah, I believe so. I believe Rick will be in the hospital for probably the most of the season. Closer to the end of this season, he should be getting out. Keep in mind, when Rick was in the hospital, a lot of people forget this. They did a webisode that kind of explained there was a nurse who was living in the hospital taking care of some patients, and they were taking care of Rick Grimes. They didn't show her taking care of Rick Grimes, but by the end of the webisode, one of the guys, they show he's the guy who put "Dead Inside, Don't Open" on the door. So that's how they kind of did a workaround around Rick in a coma, shitting on himself and being clean, and who's changing his IV and how did he sit there for weeks because there was someone in the hospital. So right now it's likely, timeline-wise, that Rick was still in the hospital because the bombing in episode 1 of season 2 is the same bombing that Shane and Lori were watching on the road. And I believe that Rick was still, if I'm not mistaken, still in the coma at that time. And again, that all depends on how fast the time's going to pick up from here to the end of season 2. Because in season 2, if only a week or two goes by, then yeah, Rick's probably still in the hospital. But if they start skipping, 6 months, then no, he's going to be out of the hospital. And that looks to be about it. Thoughts and opinions about everything we talked about in this video down in that comment box. Do not forget the rules in the description. All right, stay tuned. A lot more coming. Subscribe now.